Only you will feel the weight of what was possible. Only you will know what it feels like to live in a world that didn't have your success, your courage, the burden that would have brought about change. You don't get to hold on to the fire. You don't get to dream forever. Just like how we go to sleep and we wake up 8, 10, 12 hours later depending on how tired you are. You don't get to hold on to the dream. You go to sleep and you have a brief moment, a brief spindle of life. That in the middle of it, you get to dream and you get to live and you get to hope for a better tomorrow. And then you wake up. And the beautiful thing about life is that when you wake up, you get the chance to remember that dream. You get the chance to go actualize that dream, to give it a reason for choosing you. For all of us are chosen like the picking of a blade of grass. But not all of us get to fulfill what we're chosen for. The Word of God says, many are called, but few are chosen. I think that's a better way of putting it. But it's not necessarily that you're chosen to lead, but you sure are called. You're called upon by the dreams that you dream. You're called upon by the ambitions that bellow out from beneath you. You're called upon by your soul saying, I'm tired of this. Like that joke or line from that show, I'm tired of this, Grandpa. You're called upon. And if you can't act, it will not mourn you. The world will not mourn the Amazon that never was, the Apple that never was, the Tesla that never was. It won't mourn it because it will never know what was or what wasn't. Only you get to mourn what was given to you, what could have been possible. Essentially, we live with skeletons in our closet, but the closet is our mind. And that feeling that we know that we should have captured, that we should have executed upon, that we should have lived to strive to see, is buried deeply in our hearts. I'm reminded about that story about the fisherman who is asked by this great businessman, why don't you stop fishing and you sell all your equipment and you go out to sea and you buy a big ship and you fish with others? And the fisherman would be like, why would I do that? Well, with the boat you could catch more fish. Well, why would I do that? Well, with the loads of fish you could sell all that fish and get a lot of money. Well, why would I do that? And then it goes on to he sells the money, or he uses the money to buy a bigger fleet and more boats. And from the many boats he can expand his territory where he would fish, and he would have a bigger influence in the town that he lives in, and all these things until he is the wealthiest man in old age, and he sells it all to finally be at peace with his family with the great wealth amassed. And then the fisherman said to the businessman, saying, well, I'm doing that right now. Why would I need to do it through these great ambitions, through this big plan of amassing great fortune, through striving for greatness? And I feel like a lot of us are like this fisherman. And I don't blame you for being like this fisherman. I don't blame you for finding the thing that you love and sitting on it. Those are the greatest of times. Finding something that you love and spending time with it and spending time with them or whoever it may be. But for the rest of us who are ambitious, the rest of us who have been chosen, where the lightning bolt has struck and we are now burdened with the possibility, with the way out, with the event horizon telling us to come closer, I say we become like the businessman, not for the sake of simply chasing wealth and riches and glory, but for the sake of ridding ourselves of desire, of ridding ourselves of a past where we could not have seen the greatness that we could have amassed, seeing the greatness that we could have found ourselves in. Because the fisherman in the story has already found himself. He's already realized what he wants to do. He has his riches, he has his wealth, he has his family, he has his great occupation, catching fish so that this family could eat. But for the rest of us, if you're truly burdened, if you're truly chosen, and you're not a placeholder of desire, you have to pick up your mantle and you have to march forward. Because you're not the only person you're doing this for. It is no longer a selfish ambition. It is no longer your own spirit being brought to life. You are now responsible for the world's nurturement, for the world's care, for the world's presentation of greatness. You're not just responsible for yourself, you're responsible for your family and for the circle of friends that you speak to and for the future wife and children that you will provide for. That is who I'm calling out to when I read, when I speak, when I am who I am making these videos. Allergies, sickness, weakness aside, I show up and I call you to do the same. This is Nick Not Inmint. I love you. Ciao.